Critical hit Punch All Nazis takes place in the early days of World War II and combines high adventure with cosmic horror. All dates, locations, and historical events are thrown out the window in order to create a fun story, so don't put too much thought into historical inaccuracies. All accents are done poorly, but with love, and no disrespect is intended. By the time the party reached Alexandria, which took about a day after you left Cairo, the party was able to put together the designated reports for the Brigadier. Everybody was assigned a task to write a report about what they encountered. Who would like to share their report first? Dutch? Tell us who Dutch is, and then tell us the report that you filed with the Brigadier.
Okay. Dutch is a young man who is a soldier. He is, pretty okay looking, keeps himself trim. His hair is nice. He tries to stay on top of that. His report is pretty complete. It starts from arriving in Cairo, meeting up with the professor, coming into contact with Lazelle Baum. It talks about also coming into contact with Monty Smith. Going to the thing, figuring out that that wasn't the right one, going to a second different one, but not the one that they thought, but the other one, finding a secret city full of snake people, getting the mask, and then being ambushed by Nazis and then ambushed by snake people. Before finally Valentino being able to escape with the mask and beating a hasty retreat back to Cairo, where we were going to take off for Europe once again. And also in there, definitely spent some time talking about the Nazi officers that are just magicians. Okay. And also talking a little bit about, although, Dutch's technical knowledge is not huge, but talking about the mecha panzers that the Nazis had, as well as talking a little bit about what the that crystal that incorrect crystal skull that we found, that maybe someone's a tentacle monster, and also the talking a little bit about the mask, although Dutch in his report will say, but only two people have put on the mask, and one of them was reportedly severely injured by it, so you'll have to ask the person who actually can wear it safely.
All right, so Valentino. Tell us what Valentino looks like, and then the report that you filed with the Brigadier about the mask.
Valentino, he's generally fairly chiseled features, usually a bit of a sourpuss, though often wearing a scowl as he walks around. He's got some fairly piercing blue eyes and sandy blonde hair, light build. And he supplemented Dutch's report, talking about his own experiences. He does go ahead and mention how he chose to wear the mask based upon the inscription and upon previous encounters with what the agency had been calling the Yith. So he does go ahead and mention that just so that it is an official report somewhere. And basically talks about how he did speak with ghosts that seem to be of the order whose name escapes me.
Luminaries?
The Luminaries. But basically how he is told how several Luminary agents had taken various artifacts to locations, such as Antonio, who took the glass orb to Murano, and this glass orb supposedly reveals secret. Tony, who took a book of spells that unlocks a gate to a place of learning in America, or the Americas, and Mario, who took a dagger to St. Petersburg, which is used to fight creatures. He does go ahead and talk about how after largely being ambushed by the Nazis and a brief scuffle, decides to give in and allowed to be taken prisoner, where Zell, or whatever her real name is, eventually tries on the mask, discusses how her reaction to that and how Valentino used the opportunity to grab the mask and leap from the truck and run and hide until he's able to reconvene with the other agents.
Okay. All right. Blisco. In Dutch's report, he mentioned seeing these walking tanks, essentially. Tell us a little bit about Blisco, Rob, and what you discovered about these walking tanks.
Blisco is a young farm boy from Kansas, and he's built like it. He wanted
Wait
to
a
be
minute. I thought he was from Oklahoma.
I thought he was from Nebraska.
Wow. Excuse me.
Blisco's
Rob,
from the
tired
Midwest.
today.
He's all over the place.
The headache medicine is slowly kicking in.
It's all the same. Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. It's all the
one of the
parts.
square ones. It's fine.
Rob may have binged the first half of My Adventures with Superman last night. Okay. Excuse me. Blisco is a young farm boy from Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
And he is built like it. He saw some of them barnstormers as a kid and wanted to work on planes from then on. And by joining the military, has been allowed to do so, and is now seeing all sorts of other crazy nonsense, mechanical and otherwise. Speaking of big walking tank things, Blisco will have that'll be the majority of what Blisco's report will be, because he'll assume everybody else is able to get across the fantastical elements of their stuff, and he'll focus on what he was able to glean off of the new Nazi technology.
Okay, and what have you gleaned? What have you gleaned? What have you gleaned?
They've got giant robot-looking things, as if it would be out of their comic books.
Okay. Anything specific?
Possibly how they're moving around, but not how they're a general mechanical grasp on how this thing is functioning, but not a power situation or anything. He's just all right, this is the basic design. I don't know what's going on in here unless I can open the thing up.
Okay. All right. And then finally, Dutch mentioned serpent people and their war that they have declared on all humanity. Doc, please describe yourself and also what you've learned about the snake people or the serpent people and this hood that you have.
Certainly. Doc, who actually does have a name that nobody ever uses, Nikolaus Helias.
What is his name? That may be important. What's his name?
Nikolaus Helias.
What is that? Is that German? Is that Austrian?
That's definitely Greek.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't know that Doc was Greek, you would probably be able to tell, because our time in the desert has actually darkened his skin a lot more than you expected. Normally, he's sort of a medium brownish to tan, and here he's very, very dark. Doc tries very hard to keep his hair under control, and sometimes it works really well, and he gets that Clark Gable thing going on, and then sometimes it goes Albert Einstein, and occasionally it goes full-on Larry Fine. If you catch him early in the day, he's usually clean-shaven by about 2 o'clock. That's no longer the thing. And Doc is not It's not that he doesn't pay attention to these matters, things like, his hair or his suits. It's just that he sometimes will hyper focus on the wrong things, which is why the report that Doc turns in is actually appropriate medical legal jargon, which means it actually follows the specific format, goes over the background of how we ended up there. It does have some specifics, some rough diagrams of what he is calling Homo ophiophagus or Ophiophagus, for those of you who like to pronounce words correctly, the snake people. And he figures Homo sapien plus Ophiophagus Hanna, Homo Ophiophagus. And it does actually go into great detail about the anatomical structures that he presupposes might be happening. And, of course, the things that he knows are happening and the after effects that came from having the hood on him and, transforming into a larger version of himself, which is incredibly terrible. And attempting, mind you, not necessarily very successfully, but attempting with the evidence that he has to explain possible chemical or biochemical responses that hood may have induced, because in no way is he going to say the word magic in this type of report. Now, if you ask him, was it magic, he would probably say, yeah, it's totally magic, and then he would explain to you who probably came up with that magic. It was a guy named Houdini. But the report itself is actually quite professional. Doc is really good at report stuff. You sit him down at a typewriter. Yeah, it's
okay.
Good to go.
All right. So everybody gets their report gathered. By the time that you get to Alexandria, it's given to Valentino, who encodes it and sends it off. And there's this memo here dated December 1st, 1939. It is from the Brigadier of Section M to General Eisenhower of the U.S. Armed Forces, soon to be hopefully majestic. General Eisenhower, in regards to your team that you have put on loan with us, they appear to be doing an adequate job. There are certain things that we have discovered relating to the Key of Solomon and its location. The team is, and I use that term loosely, the team is scouring for these elements to bring them together so that we may destroy the Key of Solomon. My concerns of your team is that they seem very open to tomfoolery, to trickery, to being lured into distractions. I will point you to one Montgomery Smith, doctor, United States of America, archaeologist, who led the team off on a wild goose chase to obtain an artifact which we are currently waiting to arrive in Paris. More concerningly is their willingness to allow a Nazi into their midst and allow that person to lure them out into the desert where they were certainly put upon by Nazis and, from what reports are, serpent people. Our concerns at the moment are this. While they are doing a job, they need to take greater care. It would be of good idea if you or one of your underlings, subordinates, could reach out to these boys and tell them that they need to tighten up their ship. If you have any questions, please write to me. I hope you're doing well. Sincerely, the Brigadier. By the time that you are out to sea, by the time you've left Alexandria and you're heading to, where are you heading to?
Murano?
Murano, yes.
Murano, yeah.
Murano is a tiny island in the Venice Lagoon, so instead of docking going right from Alexandria to Murano, you would probably dock in Venice first. By the time you're about midway through your trip from Alexandria to Venice, you do receive a short cable from the Brigadier, and it reads as follows. Unable to acquire contact in Venice, look for resistance. And this is, of course, all coded, and Valentino, you are able to uncode it and share with the rest of the group if you like.
Yeah, I'll share that.
Okay. You arrive in Venice on December 5th, 1939. There's a chill in the air, but Venice is a beautiful city, depending on which part of Venice you're in. If you are on the islands that make up Venice, of course, everything is gorgeous, beautiful architecture, people in the streets, etc. There is a main road that you can take off of the island. The lagoon is relatively shallow, so there is a rail line and a road that leads from the island back to the mainland, the main continent, and into the Venice, would we say the common living area of Venice. Venice at this point probably has somewhere around 85,000 people in it, of which about 20,000 live on the island of Venice, or I should say the islands of Venice, and the rest are in the common city on the mainland. That is where the boat will dock and drop you off. When you exit the boat, it is pretty clear that there is a military presence throughout the city. You see Italian soldiers walking around with dogs. These, depending on what side of the, which team you're on, these Italians might be referred to, these Italian soldiers might be referred to as macaronis, or they might be referred to in any number of derogatory terms, depending on who is fighting them at the moment. But everyone around these Italian soldiers seem to be very aware that they are there, and there's no fooling around. There's no goofing around. It is very much, let's straighten up, let's fly right, let's not attract any attention. Let us be, careful of what we are doing. As you move through the city, you will see on the walls posters that talk about how Mussolini, the grand leader, Mussolini, the leader of our times, Mussolini, so great, Mussolini loves you, these kinds of things, propaganda posters all throughout. Occasionally, as you move through the city, though, you may see some of those posters ripped down. You may see painted across many of them fascist, the word fascist across the Mussolini's face. And so there is a little bit of tension in the city. It is now December 5th, 1939. You're standing in the common portion, the mainland portion of Venice.
When you say common, do you mean common as in opposed to?
Yeah, so Venice, the islands are going to be, you've seen the pictures. Yes, there are people that live there, but that's a lot at this point is going to be a lot of tourist attraction stuff, a lot of art, museums, those kinds of things, shopping districts, things, not like a center of business. So a common area is like where the masses are going to live, where most of your business is going to take place, that kind of stuff.
So the area of the commoners rather than like a common area that everybody shares.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. But I mean, this is where you're going to find the mayor is going to live here. The governor, I don't really remember everything about, I believe Venice is the head of this region. So, a regional governor would live in this common area. It's not the touristy area.
Got it. It's where the townies live.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it sounds like we're on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Were we all get to read the Brigadier's report, or was it just
the
broadcast?
He sent a letter to Valentino that says we can't find a contact for you. Look for the resistance.
Yeah, but he means
are we aware of the letter where he? Okay.
It was directed towards General Eisenhower. I don't know why you would get a copy of it.
Yeah, that's why I assume it was for the sake of the audience. All right, well, let's find a place to stay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. As you navigate your way through the city, there are times where people look at you with maybe there's an off-puttedness. They feel very off-put by looking at you. At one point, you walk past a shop and an old woman who's sitting outside after you walk by, Doc actively spits on the ground at your feet behind you.
Mm-hmm. I fork the sign of the evil eye.
She gives you the hand under the chin sign and spits again. She mutters something in Italian and then goes inside the shop. A younger man steps out and he looks at you very sternly as you continue to walk away.
I do continue to walk away, yes.
Eventually you reach a hotel.
Well, go inside, try to get a look at what the standard clientele seems to be.
It seems to be, middle class.
Okay.
During our travel, did there seem to be any area where there was a higher concentration
of people spitting at you? No,
of
Okay.
Anti-fascist graffitis or places that look like they.
So if you're in the quote unquote nicer areas, the cleaner streets, and granted, all the streets are clean because this is Mussolini's Italy.
Right.
In the cleaner streets, you don't see any of that stuff. It's when you are walking down a side street or when you're in a poorer part of the area that you will encounter those kinds of things. Occasionally, you may see somebody handing out handbills that say down with fascism, down with Mussolini,
right?
But not in the nicer parts.
Got it.
Oh, hello.
I shoot him.
May I help you, gentlemen?
Please tell me it looks like the same guy wearing a mustache. Please tell me.
Yeah, the man behind this desk, he's immaculately dressed. I mean, this is like fine Italian suit that he is wearing. His hair is very slick back. He's thin. He's got a very pencil thin mustache. Also very, very slick, very dark, black hair, black mustache. He's got a carnation in his lapel. He's all seriousness.
Hello. We'd like to get
He looks at you and squints. Are you Spanish?
In a roundabout way, yes. But
we have no room. Sorry.
how about for Americans?
Oh, yes, Americans. Yes, well, we have accommodations for Americans. If I could just see your passports, please.
Well, show them our passports, I guess.
Okay. Hand over the passports. He looks at them to confirm that you are indeed Americans and not Spanish or Greek, although he does spend an extra little bit of time looking at Doc's passport before handing back. It's rather peculiar to see Americans here. Are you here for the glass festival?
We're here on business, but we definitely want to partake at some point.
Well, by all means, the festival runs until December 15th over on the Island of Murano.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, indeed. And he hands you a little pamphlet that, reads, Festival of Class, December 1st through December 15th, 1939. Come celebrate the culture, the spectacle, the brilliance of glassmakers of Italy, only on the island of Murano. Carnival rides, carnival attractions, and of course, fireworks display on December 15th.
But it's all in Italian, so it says Festa del Vetro.
It's all in Italian, yeah. But Rodrigo's polyglot, and I believe Italian is one of his things.
Nope. But
then it makes jumble sense to you.
I mean, Dutch does speak Spanish, French, Latin, and Romanian, so he can probably.
It's all.
So every other Romance language.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'll say this: like, once you guys are in Italy, like, Dutch definitely has like cool, we're somewhere else, exotic and fun. Let me listen to the language. He is not doing that here. Like, Dutch clearly has something in his craw about Italians.
Oh.
Which, like, the moment that this guy was like, "Are you Spanish?" and then give him a brush off because of it, like it's only heightened it.
Okay.
Oh, good to know.
But yes, the man behind the counter is more than happy to give you the pamphlet about the glass festival and gives you 2 rooms on the top floor. this hotel is a walk-up only.
How many floors are up to the top?
6.
Good Laird Almighty.
Ugh.
He's mocking us.
I don't think he's mocking you.
Oh, that's all right. It'll
I think
give
he's
us
just
a
being
vantage
rude.
point.
Being a creep.
Yeah, so certainly the first 2 floors, very, very nice. But as you go up, the quality of the decor starts to decline just a little bit.
Mm.
And then you reach your rooms. They are connecting rooms on the 6th floor, middle of the building.
Are they smoking rooms?
No.
It's 1939. All rooms are smoking.
I was going to say.
No, these rooms are on fire.
It will be
They
after
certainly
smoke.
will be.
When we get to the rooms, we'll split up the undesirables.
Okay.
So I'll take Bug Eater.
Okay. So that's the first undesirable taken care of.
Yep, and then
Hey,
Doc and
wait a
Valentino
minute.
can be over there.
So
Wait a minute.
Valentino
He's like
will go
he was like no Spanish or Greeks.
Oh, that's a good point.
If we're both in the same room, that's the room
Yeah.
that the soldiers are going to show up to.
That is a very good point. I thought you were calling us all undesirables.
It is very clear that people can see that Doc is Greek or is of Greek descent, and they are very hostile towards Greeks. And because of his Spanish look, they are reserved towards Spanish people. And that is very clear. Although I should have probably had you guys roll that, but there you go.
Eh,
You can take that
sometimes you
as
get
your
a
freebie
nat
for
20
this.
for racism.
I mean, yeah, you shouldn't though.
Well, it's 1939.
Shouldn't give
Every room is a
racism.
smoking room.
You know, we've been in Europe for most of our military careers, so
Mhm.
That's true. I'm sure
I'm sure we've come across some stuff.
And, it's not like we're particularly welcome as Americans either. He said, not at all hurt by the letter he never heard.
So keep in mind, too, that at this point in history, Mussolini and Hitler have not formed
Teamed up yet.
a pact yet.
Right.
They've had meetings, but nothing has been solidified. So right now, while Italy is waging its own wars and battles and campaigns, it is not really concerned with what Germany is doing to France or the rest of Central Europe.
What time of day is it? Have we arrived in the morning?
Yeah, sure. It's midday. It's little after lunch.
All right. We'll have everybody meet up in one room after we've settled in.
Okay.
And that should be like, all right, so do we want to go straight to Murano or do we want to try to get a feel around here? I worry that trying to find the resistance is going to immediately paint a target on us. And if we make a wrong turn or ask the wrong person, it's going to be a problem. But, I mean, it depends. What are you guys thinking?
I'm actually wondering, as foolish as it is, if we don't want to try and maybe do both. I kind of feel like any looking for the resistance might be more resistant, if you would, if all of us were present. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What do you mean? You're saying you don't want us to split up?
You didn't see. No, I'm wondering if we should. I'm wondering if those of us who get spit at
Oh, I see. I see. what you're
might
saying.
not want to not be part of that particular endeavor.
I mean, Bug Eater doesn't look Italian either, so I think we all stick out pretty much here.
All right, we're going to need 4 Vespas and some Italian silk.
Well, basically, what I'm saying is seeking out a resistance is a sit around and ask people kind of a thing, whereas investigating about this orb is going to basically move us out of the big city and into a smaller town where we are probably going to have to very actively search around. So it seems to me like it's two different things. We can always keep an eye and an ear out for that sort of thing. I mean, like, I don't know if you sensed it, but Italy's been boiling for a while. So the possibility of maybe seeing some violence or seeing some vandalism is definitely present. So, we might just luck out into finding someone, but I'm not necessarily counting on it.
And maybe we want to go to Murano first.
Yeah. A little concerned about a glass festival going on when we're looking for a glass artifact.
Well, I didn't get a chance to do much research, but Murano's big on glass anyway.
Yeah.
So it's probably a bit of a needle in a haystack to begin with.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that this might end up having to be a bit of a heist.
I mean, don't threaten me with a good time. It's something that people probably didn't say in the 30s, but
You just coined the term.
Yep.
That's right.
Any thoughts, Blisco?
I'm gonna follow your lead here. Like, finding them is not going to be easy, and getting the artifacts sooner rather than later is going to be our better options at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to Murano. Our cover is I'm the son of a rich guy, and you guys are my entourage. So it should be easy enough to maintain that ruse.
I suppose.
Isn't all of that basically true anyways?
In only insofar as we're not looking for a glass, but we'll pretend that we are. I mean, technically we are, but not glass to buy.
So there's a couple of ways you could get to the island of Murano. One way that you might do it is you might take the train to the island of Venice. It's a very quick trip. And then take a boat across to Murano. If you look at the Venice, Italy map that I have provided to you, you can see the islands of Venice. And then right off the coast, you see that little square island. Just to the north of that and off the map is where Murano is. But fortunately, I've also provided you with a map of the island, or at least the islands of Murano. There are 7 or 8 little islands that make up Murano. So you can go right from the mainland to Murano, or you can go to main Venice first and then across to Murano.
Let's cut across Venice.
Okay, so you're going to go down to Venice. So you go down to the island of Venice, and this is everything that the postcards have told you. Quaint shops, canal-lined boulevards, gondoliers, taking tourists through the streets. They're not as, you see mostly what you would assume to be Italians here. You do not see very many British people that would be from Great Britain. You do see maybe a few French people, but not very many. Most of it tends to be Italians, and we'll just say other nationalities. From there, you make your way down the Grand Canal to a little port on the northeast side of Venice, and you're able to catch a small boat going across to Murano. There's regular trips going back and forth with one of these water taxis, and you are sitting. This one is a motorboat instead of a gondola. This is a motorboat, and you have your driver is in the front with you. So you're going to Murano for the festival, eh?
Yeah, it sounds fun.
It is very good. You know about Murano?
I know it's like a bunch of little islands. That's all I know about it.
Oh, Murano is a great place. Hundreds of years ago, when glass was becoming the thing, everyone went to Murano. Everyone went to Murano to share their techniques. Well, They weren't didn't go there willingly. They were basically told, if you're a glassmaker, go to Murano. But there, people were able to learn from one another, share technologies, and Murano glass blossomed and bloomed into the beautiful art that it is today. Murano glass, you see, is some of the most sought-after glass in the world. Doesn't matter if it is blown glass, if it's glass for chandeliers, glass for drinking. Murano glass is the best in all of the world.
Wow.
Yes. If you have time, go visit the Museum of Glass. You can learn all about it there. It's very nice. But of course, if you're going for the festival, you're going there for the shopping and the costumes and the music and the rides, all of the fun.
Oh yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
mean, how big is that museum? Could we do it in a day, or do you think we're gonna have to come back?
Oh, this late in the afternoon, you probably would need to come back.
Okay. Well, we'll hit the main festival then, and maybe we'll come back. We're gonna be in Italy for a bit.
Oh, very good. You're Americans, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, what do you think of our Mussolini? He could help you run your country much better, huh? He just kind of looks at you. Well, the taxis out of Murano leave promptly at 9 p.m.
Okay.
If you want to make it back, enjoy your stay as you pull up into one of the canals of the islands of Murano. Now, Murano is a very small island. It is only 1 mile across, so it doesn't take, it's not an effort to walk from one end of the island to another, especially for you who are all in shape. You're going to walk across little bridges. You're going to walk down little streets. There are, there are shops everywhere. There are some houses here. The island has a population of about 5,000 people.
And they're all out in the streets. Woo!
There is definitely a sense of joy and happiness that's going on. I mean, the minute that you get off the boat, there's a big banner above the dock as you're going into the main island of San Pietro that says, "Welcome to the Glass Festival of Murano." Of course, it says this all in Italian. And there's like garlands all over the place. It feels like this is a winter festival. So it's not like you're seeing, spring flowers or bright colors. These are going to be more colors and decorations of the season. So it feels a little bit like pre-Christmas, but also winter festival type stuff. Mm-hmm. There are people walking around in coats. Some people are in costume. You turn one corner and standing right in front of you is a very ghoulish looking person.
Are they wearing like makeup or?
Oh, yes. Of course, they're wearing a mask and they laugh and they clap you on the arm. Welcome. People are wearing masks and are in costume for the festival.
We can put on masks, fellas.
Yeah. That was going to be a concern of mine.
Should we wear masks?
Place.
Like, doesn't seem like everybody's wearing a mask.
Oh yeah, you can buy it. Look, there right over there is a shop that's a little stand that is selling masks and costumes. A lot of this looks very anywhere from Renaissance to relatively modern day. Like you will find some more modern type mask and costumes for people to wear, but there are some people that are totally going complete Harlequin type costuming in this total Renaissance fair type stuff.
Wow. Oh boy.
I mean, this is a festival.
Yeah. We'll get some masks.
Okay. So the shopkeeper, what kind of mask do you guys want to wear?
Dutch is gonna get like an old miser type mask.
Okay, so one with kind of has a long nose.
Long curvy nose, like painted on wrinkles, maybe a sad, like an angry sad expression.
Okay, yeah, they've glued on little cotton balls to the eyebrows, and the cheeks are all kind of rosy. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. What about you, Doc? What kind of mask do you get?
Oh man, do they have one of like the Capitana with the red half mask face where you're like everything looks weird and you're terrifying? You have a giant curvy mustache. You look like a character out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, they have some of those. Yeah.
I want one of those.
Okay.
with lots of reds and blues and golds and things in it.
So you get a red mask, a guy with a giant nose.
And a big, like Salvador Dali
yeah.
mustache.
Big old chunky mustache.
Yep.
Okay. What about you, Blisco?
Harlequin jester style mask.
Yeah, you grab.
Bells.
Yeah, you grab a plain white mask for your face, and then you also pick up a hat with the jingly bells.
Yes.
Okay. Every time you walk, you hear the ching, ching, ching. So every time you walk, remember that the bells are jingling. And finally, we get to Valentino. You're going to cover up that beautiful face, Valentino.
I was gonna say it would be funny if he just got like a pretty boy mask, and it just pretty much looked exactly like his
It
face.
looks just like him.
I mean, I do have a mask of my own, but I think I better wait for that.
Yeah.
Do you have that mask on you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. What about you, Doc? Do you have your hood on you or no?
Probably not. I did, because I didn't think that it would be something appropriate. So it's hiding in my luggage.
Back at the hotel room?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what kind of mask do you get, Valentino?
I'm thinking like mostly a domino kind of thing, like a black
just
mask with some
black domino mask. Okay.
some gold filigree around the edge.
Now, is this one that you put on, or is this, that's a good question. Is this one that you actually affix to your face with a band, or is this one of those that you hold on the stick?
With the band.
Okay. All right. So you all put on your masks. And you feel a little like you're getting into the spirit of the festival.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
Oh boy.
They have food here. You can smell some delicious hams, some cured meats you can smell, lots of cheeses. They have warm foods, cold foods. They have drinks of all kinds that you can just pick up from the street vendors. You are seeing a lot more nationalities here than you did back in Venice. This seems to be a gathering point for people from all over the world, even though there is conflict going on, even though there's wars going on. There are people here to celebrate. These are probably more affluent people that are here to celebrate without a care in the world. Right. But there are definitely a lot more people here from beyond Italy. You definitely hear German mentioned. At one point, it sounds like you hear a German woman lecturing a bunch of children, but they're not children. They look to be about, your height, so young adults, but it sounds like she's lecturing them on glass and the city of Murano and the history of Murano. You hear her like, in the 700s, people were told to come to Murano to make their glass. Many innovations here. Some very great stuff, some not so good stuff. But today, even though glass is manufactured all over the world, people still come to Murano to marvel at the technologies that they did all these hundreds of years ago.
Okay.
And you hear the children, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, very boring.
But they're here. I mean, and if you were taking a class trip to a party festival,
Italy,
yeah, I think you'd probably be like, we listen to you until nighttime.
Nice.
And then we party.
I'll just keep an ear out. I mean,
okay. Every shop vendor has their doors open. They have their best wares on display. You see beautiful glass orbs. You see intricate little blown figurines, horses and dragons and butterflies and hummingbirds. And there's pictures, these beautiful ornate pictures with all sorts of marvelous colors swirling through them.
Okay.
Occasionally, it looks like someone occasionally will get out of hand and accidentally break some glass, at which point, the shop owner will come out and start yelling at them. And then, a uniformed police dressed in more military gear than what you would normal police gear would quickly show up and kind of break up the argument and keep the festivities going.
Are there any open ateliers kind of place where you can actually see people blowing glass?
Oh, yes. Pretty much every shop will have an open area, like down an alley you could go down and you can see people blowing glass. There are demonstrations out in I guess the main concourse or the main thoroughfare on San Donata. You can see people who are doing glass blowing competitions to see who can come up with the most intricate design on the spot. It's fascinating to watch. Yeah, and in fact, San Donato, which is the central island of Murano, that's where the main festivities are taking place. There's a more open space here. The museum is located in the center of the island. There's a kind of like a promenade or a grass area surrounding it, kind of like a park, and that's where you get the main celebration area. So when you get down to there, you see basically it's a circus atmosphere or a midway atmosphere, right? So you see Ferris wheels, there's merry-go-rounds, there's vendors doing things, there's little rides for children, there's a dancing area where people can dance to music, there's a drinking area where people can drink, and of course there's food all up and down these different areas and different competitions celebrating all things glass.
While we're walking, I will go over to walk next to Blisco and be like, how comfortable would you be on one of those motorboats?
Not as good as I am with the automobile or in the air, but I could figure it out pretty quickly.
Okay. I'm just keeping an eye out for escape vectors, given our luck.
Oh, that makes sense. I'll keep an eye out for something that something I'd be best with.
Okay.
Certainly up and down there are gondola stations, kind of like taxi stations around the islands, but these are more touristy attraction spots. So gondolas would be, there's maybe 7 stations on San Donato, which you can then take to the other islands, but really it's more there for the touristy bit than actual travel. You would need to go out back to like San Pietro or what's the one to the north, Sacamatia. That would be where you would find your main like docks going either to the mainland or going back to the island of Venice. The waters here are not deep. I didn't look up to see how deep the waters were. I mean, it's deep enough that dolphins will swim in during the pandemic when there was nobody around. But this is, it's described as a shallow lagoon. Is what the Venice Lagoon is. It's not super deep. In fact, when we talk about buildings on the canals and everything, they actually sank alder trees down through the water and through the silt and the mud until they hit the bedrock, and then they built on top of those pilings, and that is how they built up a lot of these buildings that you're familiar with in Venice or on Murano. You just happen to stumble across a little information kiosk that has that information.
Yep. We'll just, we won't I will, Dutch will say, well, let's not party too hard, but let's just take in the city. And I'm thinking probably our best bet is going to be that museum, but I think the guy was right, and we probably don't want to go there.
I mean, you can. I mean, it will close. What time did I say it closed? At 5 or whatever. You've got, an hour or so if you want to go in and just look around. You can do that.
I kind of feel like we want to spend a little bit more time there and actually look for potential clues. Like, oh, here's this a drawing of a guy, and one of the glass blowers has the symbol of the or whatever, that sort of thing.
So is there anything then as you're walking through the streets and the festivals and everything? And again, right now, I would say that you guys are mostly on San Donato because that's where the festival stuff is going on. You're going to find, houses and shops all over the island. Is there something specific that you are looking for as you're enjoying the festivities or becoming familiar with your surroundings?
Main thing I'd be looking out for is anything showcasing like historic or elaborate pieces.
No, man, this whole island is historic and elaborate. Some of these things go back all the way to 1291 when glassmakers were told to come to the island and start. So there are literally some of these shops that have been around since 1291. Glass of all shapes, sizes, styles, colors. You start to see some of the newer things that are starting to make an appearance, as in mixing paints in with the glass. So you get these tremendous streaks through the glass. So yeah, the whole island, unfortunately, Valentino is historic and ornate.
I think Doc will be watching for anything that we might have seen symbolically that might indicate those secret societies that we read about.
Okay, why don't you roll me an insight plus, insight plus observation. This will have to be a D2 on that. You're looking for symbols of the luminaries?
Yes, or anything that might indicate something similar.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Because Great NATO had all of them on his posters.
He did. Oh, you have 0 successes. It's weird that you mentioned you failed. It's weird that you mentioned the Great NATO because you do turn one corner as you guys are walking around, and you do see a poster that says the Great NATO coming in January of 1940. The greatest magician and the greatest magic show of all time.
Oh, gets around.
He does. He's, What about you, Blisco? You got the jingle bells going.
Yeah. At this point, Blisco is mostly keeping an eye out for vehicles.
Okay. I mean, there are.
Dutch mentioned having a quick escape route, and Blisco's eyeballing things and making sure he knows where vehicles he knows how to operate are, versus vehicles where he's like, well, I could probably operate that one, versus vehicles where he's like, nah, we don't want that.
So a lot of small vehicles here. There's not a lot of giant delivery trucks, that kind of stuff. I mean, if need be, they can be there, but these are relatively narrow streets. These streets have been here forever. This is also not a system set up on the grid. Streets are going to wind around each other. It's very easy to start one direction, and then literally within 5 minutes, you're right back where you started, and you don't feel like you've taken any turns.
Yeah. So that'd be the other thing, is just kind of getting a decent internal map as well as possible. Okay.
Why don't you roll insight plus, let's do insight plus, probably let's just do observation on that. Insight and observation and see what you can come up with. One success. One. Okay.
That is the most average roll I've ever seen.
Yeah. 11 and 10. That is. You kind of, after about an hour, you kind of get your bearings. You can tell which direction is north. You can tell your cardinal directions. You can kind of make out streets that are more prominent than others, like more main thoroughfares, but it's going to take you a while to really plot how to quickly get from one place to another. Although, as I said, the islands of Murano are only a mile across, so it's not like it's going to take you a heck of a long time to get from one side of the island to the other.
Yeah. I just need to know how to do that when it becomes necessary.
Okay. All right.
If there is time, Dutch will also keep an eye out for malcontents.
Troublemakers. Okay. All right. Why don't you roll me an observation and insight? This will be a D2.
Are we able to help him on this, or?
We don't have any momentum.
Yeah, we don't have any momentum yet. Yeah, you can help him. How would you assist him, Matthew? How would Doc assist Dutch finding malcontents?
Well, while he's looking one way, I'll look the other.
Okay, and what are you going to do what are you going to roll for that?
I am going to roll insight plus observation.
Okay, you only get one dice that you can roll on this one. So 1D instead of 2D.
Mm-hmm.
And your success will be added to Dutch's success.
Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Did you get a success?
I haven't rolled yet. I was.
Oh,
You
I
need
was
to
waiting
you
for it.
you need to roll first.
I roll first to help him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Twang. Success.
Okay, so you have one success.
We have 3 successes.
All right, 3 successes. You get 1 momentum.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know what? At a festival like this, there are always going to be people up to no good. You observe with your eyes some pickpockets going through the crowds. These guys are dressed kind of all in black, kind of like almost like a death mask kind of guy, where they're wearing black masks, black capes, the black tricorn hat. Is that what it's called? The tricorn hat?
Yeah, sure.
And you can see every once in a while somebody dressed like that will just bump into one of the festival goers, and as the person moves away, you can see a wallet or a piece of jewelry just kind of go under their cloak as they move through the crowd. So there are bad people here.
Brigands.
Yeah. Not the kind of brigands we're looking for, I don't think. But I mean,
Yeah,
definitely.
probably not in the main thoroughfare for sure.
Yeah. Basically, obviously good to know. I'll try to avoid those guys. But yeah, just like looking down alleyways and stuff and see if there's any kids like defacing posters or
If you, as you move away from the main central part, who wants to roll rumblies for tumblies? Let's
me.
see. Okay. Rob, why don't you roll? What would that be? Will plus resilience? Will
Sure.
plus resilience, D2.
That's not my worst possible combo.
Okay. 0 successes, which is good, because if you had succeeded, you would not be hungry. But because you failed, you're hungry. And so as you guys start to move away from the thoroughfare into some of the side streets and stuff, you can see every once in a while, you can see somebody ripping down a Mussolini poster and throwing it on the ground. Maybe there's a couple of kids who are, daring one another to tear down the poster and stomp on it and then laugh and run away before anyone can see them. So there's those kinds of shenanigans going on.
okay.
But you do reach a nice little side restaurant, and they have all sorts of great Italian coffee, Italian pastries that you could eat. Or if you're hungry enough for a full meal, get a big old plate of spaghetti or macaroni or pizza or whatever it is that you want to eat that has an Italian theme to it.
Let's see.
All right.
Yeah.
The waiter comes out and he's like, welcome. Hey, we've got a great food for you. Welcome to the festival. I hope you're having a wonderful time and that no one is bothering you.
Oh, it's been great.
That's good. What is your Italian food of choice, Rodrigo?
Dutch's Italian food of choice probably is actually coffee and a pastry. Like he's got kind of a sweet tooth as
we've
we've explored before. So
Yep. Doc, what about you?
What looks most like a baklava?
Probably nothing. They probably have like a tiramisu or something like that, maybe.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So you guys are going for desserts. Blisco, you've got the rumbliest of tumblies.
Something Alfredo-y.
Oh, for you, I'll make you something really good. A zucchini Alfredo.
Ooh. I'll try that.
Yes. And then finally, Valentino.
How about some gnocchi?
Oh, yes. Very, very much. Very much so. Yes. Hey, are you a good-looking guy? You in the movies?
No, can't say I am.
You look like my favorite movie star.
Be surprised so much I hear that.
Yes, Cary Grant is my favorite.
Thank you.
So he goes off to make your meal and your foods and bring them out. So you're just sitting back. A man walks by your table and attempts to hand you a leaflet.
Take it.
All right. You take it, and it is a schedule of festival events.
Mhm.
So today is the 5th. So today there is a glass blowing competition at the main pavilion area. You've kind of already seen little bits and pieces of that as you walk through earlier. Tomorrow, I forget what day the 6th is, if that's a Saturday or not. I think the 15th of 1939 is a Saturday. That's the end of the festival. There is a mass that will be held on the Sunday coming up. So if anybody wanted to go to the church, the Mass of the Glass, you can go into that. There are just a whole list of activities. If there was something specific you wanted to ask about, we could tell you what day and time and where those are going to be. But this is a pretty good rundown of festival events.
Yep. The 6th would be a Wednesday.
6th would be a Wednesday. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything weird about this leaflet?
There is nothing weird about this leaflet.
Okay.
Look at all of the capital letters and see if you can take them and spell something.
Well, yeah. I mean, almost certainly a leaflet like this.
So it looks like if you take the first two, the first 4, it says some, and then the next 4 body, and then the next 5 once.
Oh no!
Told me. Yeah, it just goes on like that.
Could be wrong. It could be worse. It could be never gonna let.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's more people that are going around handing out pamphlets. Another person comes up to your table and wants to hand you a pamphlet.
I'll take it.
You take this one. This one is advertising a couple of restaurants around the corner. The waiter comes out. Hey, I told you to not come around here. And he chases the guy off. Oh, these people always trying to steal my business. And he goes back inside.
Okay.
And your food comes and you're able to eat a nice meal. You see a couple of well-dressed men in all black suits just kind of walk by. They're wearing dark glasses, which is weird because it's like late afternoon and it's already getting way dark. But you see some men walk by in all dark glasses and dark suits, and they are kind of having a quiet conversation with themselves, and they seem to be a little bit animated in their discussion. You know, they're moving their hands around and they're whispering to each other and shaking their hands as they walk down the street past you. You see some people carrying large packages with ribbons and bows. Obviously, they've had a great day shopping at the festival. You see another one of those men with the black mask and cloaks walk by. He just kind of looks at the group of you sitting there, and as he walks by, his head tracks with you, and he just gives you a little nod, and then he turns and continues to walk on.
That was interesting.
What part?
The nod.
Oh.
Was it just like, hey, what's up?
It's more like a yes, good day, gentleman kind of thing.
I see. Okay.
Check your wallet.
You all check your wallets. They will all have wallets.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Wait, are they still full?
Well, let's teach me. Let's find out.
Rob.
You started this. 5.
Yes, you have all of your monies except for the monies that you have sent for rights and hotel rooms and foods.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
So you have your monies.
Okay.
I mean, if they'd managed to do it without taking the wallets, I was just.
Oh yes,
impressed.
he nods at you.
I was just
he
like,
walks by, nods at you, and all of your monies disappear.
Just like, I can't even be mad at that one.
Yeah,
Shows you your passport and runs away.
the lights on the streets light up and flicker. It is definitely festival lights. There are string lights up and down the street. It is starting to become evening, and the streets are lit up. But at the same time, you start to feel a little bit more of a chill in the air as the wind starts to blow in from the lagoon across the island. The temperature does become quite cooler.
Mm.
And people start to huddle up into their little groups a little bit more, as opposed to being completely spread out as they might have been earlier in the day when it was warmer and, just festival activities.
Mm.
Okay. Well, we'll start walking around again.
Okay.
try to maybe figure out where the fireworks are going to be later?
Oh, sure. So the fireworks. So you're going to ask somebody, or you're just
Sure.
looking around?
Yeah, I'll ask around.
Oh, the fireworks happen on December 15th. That's next week.
Oh, I see. So it's not every night. Okay, gotcha.
No. But it's going to be a big display. They're currently setting up the fireworks on the back side of the museum, on the open area behind the museum. Everybody will be in the front of the museum on the lawn, and we'll be able to look up and see the fireworks. It'll be spectacular. That's like the big finale to the whole festival is the fireworks. Big, loud, boomy fireworks. And, certainly there's probably some talk about, we don't want to stick around on the island on the 15th to see the fireworks. We can be in Venice and see from Venice Island, we can see the fireworks from there without a problem. Other people are like, no, we got to be here. That's when the festival will be most packed, is on the last day.
Sure. Yeah, just continue to take in the festival until it starts to wind down, I guess. And at the same time, keep an eye out for stuff. Try to get a good read on the island and thoroughways and stuff that we can use later.
And you do get to figure out some paths, the quickest paths from one part of the islands to the next. But around 7:00, things start to wind down. The main shops are all closed by 5. The main city shops. Festival booths and stuff start to close up about 7:00. The lights are still on. It's still very nice, but people there's a general sense of people who are not staying on the island overnight are starting to move off towards the docks so that they can get their boat rides back to the mainland or to Venice Island. And like I said, there's the south island that you guys came in on, or the north island that you can catch boats back to the mainland, or from the south island, you can catch it back to the island of Venice, in which case you can take a train back across to the mainland, back to your hotel.
Yeah, we'll do that.
You're going to go back to mainland Venice, or I'm sorry, the main. We'll say Venice, meaning the island, or just mainland, and we'll know that you mean Venice for that. So,
our hotel's in Venice, right?
It's on the mainland.
Okay, so yeah, we'll go all the way back to the mainland.
Okay,
so we'll leave with plenty of time, so we have time to take the train across and.
Yeah, I mean the last train off of the island of Venice leaves promptly at 10:00. And arrives on the mainland at 10:15. Promptly.
Because they're always on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Well, that's what they tell you.
I mean, yeah.
So you're able to get off the island by 9. Certainly, as you look back on the island, as you're riding the boat back across to the island of Venice, you can see it's lit up like a little jewel, like a little glass jewel, just gleaming there on the lagoon as it gets dark and the wind chill and a little bit of fog starts to rise up, or a mist rises up from the lagoon as you hit the main of Venice. And the streets here still very busy and active. Bars are open here, but there's quiet neighborhoods. You start to hear more dogs barking. For some reason, the police presence seems to be a little bit more than what you noticed before here on the island. And then at the train station, again, there appears to be a lot more police presence. As you take the train back to the mainland.
Are the police hassling anybody in particular?
They are not. They are standing around. They appear very imposing and intimidating, but they're not actively shoving people around.
They're just sort of
or
making
anything
a
like
show
that
of themselves.
No, but they're definitely there to be a presence to let you know that we are always here. We are always watching. Now is not the time to, don't try anything. Now is not the time to screw around.
Right.
We don't want these trains to be late is the only thing we have.
That's right. That's our only piece of propaganda that we have.
So, assuming that in the train ride or on the walk back or whatever, that reasonably there isn't anybody very close to us.
No, there's just regular passengers, it looks like, on the train back to the mainland station.
So that she'll be all right. So You guys want to go back tomorrow and look at the museum?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If the museum is as old as it seems to be, because it seems like it's pretty old, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be a good time to try out a different mask.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
what I been holding on to it for.
So yeah, other than that, we'll head back. If it's like, probably pick up some stuff for the room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you're leaving the shop, you're about a block away from the hotel. As you're leaving the shop, a man is standing out on the street corner, and he's like, "Is this the country that we want to live in? Is this the country that we want? Is this how we want people to think about us?" And he's, holding up a pamphlet and flyers, and people are just walking by and putting up their hands like, no, no, no. Every once in a while, one person may take one from him.
I'll take a flyer definitely, but
Okay.
I won't make a lot of probably any eye contact.
Okay.
Just grab a flyer, keep walking, and
All right.
then look at the flyer.
All right. So this is definitely an anti-fascist propaganda piece that's talking about how Mussolini is horrible. He's dumb. He's stupid. He's a wannabe dictator. He is not looking out for the best of this country. He is not an intelligent person. He and his thugs are trying to, intimidate everyone, trying to drive out people that make Italy great. So it's that kind of a pamphlet.
Okay.
And it's basically, down with Mussolini, vote him out, do not allow this fascist dictator to take over our country.
Okay. Any any names or organizations on the pamphlet, or is it?
Oh
just
yeah, on the back, it's paid for by the people to keep Mussolini out of office.
Okay.
They have an address.
Yeah, there's really nothing there. There's no address or anything there.
No phone
It's
number.
just no.
People to keep Mussolini out of office makes me think that they might just be, a few guys on a printer. Like they had a name like Wyvern, then maybe I'd be like, okay, well, these are the guys going to speak out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if it doesn't have any additional information, there's no reason to hang on to it. So
Okay.
it would probably be worse to, at some point, because we're almost certainly going to do something illegal, get caught with that. So Dutch will throw it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
so- yeah.
actually, before he does that, he'll hand it to Doc
Mm-hmm.
and be like, "Can you suss out anything here?" And if you can't, hand it to Valentino.
I'm going to suss it.
All right. So roll me an observation plus insight.
Okay. A lot of that going around tonight.
Yeah.
It's early. It's early in the arc. Lots of
Two
perception
successes.
checks.
This is obviously at a low quality printer. This is not something that is of money on. This is probably from a I don't want to say low rent, but a
literal hand crank.
Yeah, like a small print shop would have done these.
Okay.
And even may not even be a small print shop. It may be literally somebody has a small press, hand crank press.
Okay. I'll definitely pass that along. And nothing indicates anything weird about the Patik Mu.
No.
Okay. Which, by the way, is people to keep Mussolini out of office. It's a Patik Mu.
Oh.
They really need to work on their acronyms.
I'll ask Valentino to have a look at it.
Okay. Observation and insight, Valentino.
Okay.
Or maybe how about you tell me what you're looking for and tell me what roles you're going to use to discover something on this.
Well, can I take an exceptionally long time to look it over and make sure there may not be any sort of
Backmasking.
hidden messages or anything, or I mean, I feel like I might be hampered in the fact I don't, know Italian, but...
So here's the thing. You're on the street. If you're going to do any kind of like deep dive kind of looking at this, it's probably something you want to take back to your room. Otherwise, I think that if you're standing around outside trying to examine this sheet of paper, it might attract attention.
Yeah, let's just hold on to this till we get back, and
okay,
if need be, we can destroy the evidence later.
Okay, all right. You can hear the man continuing to shout his rhetoric as you enter the hotel, and as you climb up the 6 flights of stairs to your room. The window does overlook the street, so you can still hear the man yelling below.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody give me an observation and insight check, please.
All right.
Told ya.
What'd
Oh,
you tell
boy.
me?
There's a lot of that going around.
Insight observation. Yep.
1 success.
1 success.
1 success.
2 success.
All right, Brian, when you, Valentino, when you go into your room, you notice that things are not in the
I could argue 3
exact place.
successes if instinct sight would be applicable.
Oh, sure. We'll give you an extra momentum for that.
All right.
You notice that as soon as you go into your room, that things are not where they were when you left.
Well, would we have had anything sensitive?
Only the hood, really.
Yeah. That would have been in your room, Valentino and Doc.
I'll check my luggage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look here, the hood's
You
there.
check your luggage and you do not see a hood.
So good that you took your mask with you.
Well, yeah. Again, just in case I had to use it.
So Doc, you checked your luggage. Is anybody else doing anything else?
I mean, assuming that
Not
Bug
until
Eater
they
and I
come to
just
tell
like
us.
walk into rooms and are like skip, skibbity boop, boopy doop, and then just like don't even notice anything,
Yeah.
then no.
I mean, I'll knock on our adjoining door.
Yeah, we bust in. Somebody shook our rooms.
Oh,
Well, time to look.
Looks like the hood's missing.
okay. Doc, I know you had an experience with that, but that might be for the best. But yeah, I'll look through and see if anybody check if my Dapper Dan is like still there.
Your Dapper Dan is not there, but the hood is there.
And they replaced it with FOP.
I'm a pomade man myself.
Now they put the hood in my bag.
Yeah, maybe we should check and just see if they maybe put it back in the wrong place in there.
Is it actually the hood?
I'll hand it to Doc.
It looks like the hood.
Yeah.
Does it seem...
Blisco, you notice that the socks that are in your bag are not your socks.
Guys.
Definitely gone through our things.
Yeah, well.
Oh, the holes aren't in the right place, Blisco?
Ha. I don't wear this brand.
Oh.
Those are my socks.
Were mended with a left-handed stitch.
They're branded.
Those are my lucky socks.
Yeah.
You hear a whistle down on the street.
Like a wolf whistle?
No,
or
no.
like a police whistle.
Like a police whistle.
I'll peek out.
You see 3 policemen approaching the protester.
The fellow with
And he starts to run away from them in the opposite direction. And he is now right across the street below your window. And he stops. And he's like, no, not that, no. And you see from the direction he was running towards, you see another lone policeman walking towards the man. The 3 other police officers are basically blocking his escape from the other way. And with this, the streets are now deserted. Nobody is out. If Dutch, across the street, you can see people closing their drapes and their curtains. A couple of people are turning out their lights.
Yeah,
And-
definitely turn off our lights.
Okay. And this lone policeman has with him a dog, ? This dog is unlike anything you have ever seen in your life. It's not a Rottweiler. It's not a German Shepherd. It is something that is horrifying and also really hard to see. It like seems to have a mist all around it as it is straining at this leash that the officer is holding as it's trying to bite out at the man. The man picks up a rock and throws it at the dog, and the rock just phases right through the dog. The dog blinks, literally blinks out of existence like in a puff of smoke. The next thing you see is a puff of smoke as the dog is now latched on to the man's neck, and he starts screaming at the top of his lungs. Ah! There is another puff of smoke, and the dog and the man are both gone. The 4 officers look around. They look up to see if anybody is watching from the windows.
Hide.
Let's roll a, what are we going to do for hide?
Agility and stealth.
Yeah, let's do that. Agility and stealth.
Yeah.
All my rolls are 11s. 2 successes.
Okay, very good. You get 1 momentum out of that.
Agility and stealth. Oh boy.
So yeah, they pass over the window. They don't see you. And they kind of all nod towards one another and go off in their own directions as a sheaf of propaganda papers blow down the street. Critical Hit Punch All Nazis is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment and was produced and edited by me, Steven Schleicher. If you would like to get a behind-the-scenes making of this episode, be sure to check out the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu Edition at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Each week I discuss my plans for the upcoming game session, and Dr. Brad Will is there to share his reactions and advice on how to be a better game master. I will warn you, though, there are spoilers galore in every installment of the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu Edition. So, if you don't like spoilers and don't want to know what I am planning next, don't listen to these episodes. Though, I will say, if you do listen, you'll be able to see how and where the players throw a wrench into my plans, and you're also going to have greater insight into the world that's being built into this campaign. This week, we didn't have any named NPCs, so no shoutouts to our associate producers this week, but next week, we'll feature a lot of surprises, and more than a few of our wonderful patrons will become NPCs in this game. You want your name to appear as one of these NPCs in future episodes? All you need to do is become an associate producer at patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Finally, we want you to record yourself doing your best on Critical Hit and send it to us at podcast@majorspoilers.com, and your voice will join the growing chorus of fans in upcoming episodes as well. Thank you again for listening this week, and here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2023 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.